Hello! Thank you for joining me for the After Effect video for Cave Point, but frozen. I wanted to get a video of Cave Point frozen since I visited the first time. However, the weather has just not been cooperative. It's been far too cold and far too windy to be flying that drone around out there. And also those batteries in the drone don't work correctly when the temperatures are too cold. The chemistry doesn't work, and the battery could cause the drone to fall from the sky. And I don't want to risk that. Also, when it's that cold out, it's really hard for me to keep my hands warm enough to manipulate the sticks and have motor control. So just haven't been going out, but I'm really glad we had warmer weather on Sunday so I could get out and fly, because it's fun to create videos, but it's also just fun to fly it. And I got to see a lot of really pretty things. Also, this is the inaugural launch of using my digital camera for my main recording camera. I was using a 1080p face cam, and it was really wonderful, very easy to set up. I like the product a lot, but I felt a little bad that the video of me is in 1080p while the video recorded by the drone is 4K. And then my friend Fox made me aware that digital cameras are capable of this if you just buy a couple extra little accessories. So got all set up and did some testing, and here we are. And so I appreciate you guys sticking around while I figure things out and make things better. So without further ado, I will start the video. So right off the bat, I really liked the Cave Point logo I made last time. I always like to make a new one each time. However, it's very time consuming and difficult to think of stuff. And in this instance, I thought it was very applicable to use the same title card, but then add "but frozen," which I got a big kick out of doing that. I like that. So man, I really thought this was a very striking starting shot. For one, I had no idea ice formed like that out on the lake, mainly because I don't spend a lot of time out on the lake in winter, but boy, it isn't neat looking seeing it from up high. So I did a nice establishing shot and did a zoom up to the coast. I wanted to do a hyperlapse of the zoom up to the coast. However, I could not figure out how hyperlapse actually works. But I now know. I looked up and read some articles about it, watched a video. So I will make use of it in my next video and just play around with it, because that's what I'm all about, is learning new things. So I always struggle with how to order the shots. So I had the far away shot, and then I was wondering if maybe I should do a mid-range shot and then kind of get closer as the video progresses. So I'm gonna play around a little bit with that and try to figure out what is and is not working out for me. I also like to pause because there I am, just standing there like a goober with my remote. And as you can see, there's quite a few people there that day. A lot more people. That parking lot was quite full with cars. The first time I went to Cave Point back in November, there was only like one family of 3 people, and then they left, so I was pretty much alone. I was very impressed with the amount of ice that accumulates, though, and kind of wish it was a little bit windier with bigger waves so I could see a little bit more sea spray, hitting the ice, but it was still really pretty that day. Also, because the waves weren't nearly as ferocious, they sounded very different, so I needed to record another audio clip using my phone, so that way I could help reinforce the natural feeling of the wave sounds. So here we have an up close of the ice formations. I really like the kind of nodular, rounded ice formations. Also, so many people around, it kind of made me feel a little like anxious, like maybe I was being annoying with the drone, but I was disabused of that notion pretty much immediately, because 3 or 4 times people walked up and asked me questions and like, "Oh, what you doing? You got a drone? Is it up in the air right now?" And it was really neat to interact with people, and it reminded me that it's just kind of a inherently cool thing and people are interested in it. Also, when I mentioned that I had a YouTube channel, they all wanted to know what the channel was, and then had to tell them the name, and it seems like the type of thing that you probably wouldn't remember if someone just told you once, and then, a couple hours later you try to find it. So I think I'll write the name down on some pieces of paper, or maybe make a card or 2 that I could hand out, so then because people are always interested to see the videos after the fact when I mention that I'm recording this for a YouTube channel. So I'll get on that. I'll design something and get something set up. But the fun thing about these types of shots is they look very safe and controlled while you're seeing them in the video, but when I'm looking on the little tiny screen on the remote, it's hard to tell how close I am. I mean, there's sensors on the drone that'll warn you when you get too close, but there's always that fear. So it always makes you feel very hesitant to get too close. But that's, I think, a comfort level that I'll grow as I fly more, particularly when I get it out more in the spring. Because some of the most striking shots are this up close stuff that you can get from a vantage point that is not seeable otherwise. So as we pan here, there are people climbing all over these icy edges and ledges. I came prepared. I brought ice cleats with me and then promptly forgot them in the car and didn't feel like I needed them because it didn't seem like it was too icy. But I walked maybe like 20 feet away from the edge and it was just glazed ice covered in a thin layer of snow, and I slid a little bit, so I decided I didn't need to be near the edge to fly that drone. I kind of wish I would have zoomed down into the crevasse to look at the caves a little bit more, but it's again, with the whole not getting a sense of like scale of how close I am to things. Like, depth perception is hard to tell with the drone, so try to keep it in a safe distance away from objects. So here's the thing that surprised me most about my trip. When I first got there and started flying around, I could see different color patches like you see out here. It's very stark how there's different like lighter colors and then darker colors, and I was trying to figure out if it was just like sunlight hitting it or what it was. But once I got out there, I flew out to see what it was and saw it was big chunks of ice. I did not put a lot of thought into how ice forms on the lake, but apparently the answer is in huge chunks that kind of stick together. My best guess is these might be the size of a dinner table, maybe a little bit smaller, but the thing that surprised me was they could look like they're interlocking like puzzle pieces, and they're adhering to each other and clumping up, and it must be from surface tension causing that, but the end result is because they're bumping against each other all the time, they form and interlock. Like, look, it looks like a puzzle piece. Like, they're all interlocked and shaped to match each other. Really neat. I spent a lot of time out there looking at those and recording video, and it also helped reinforce the fact that just because I have 5 clips of something I really like, it doesn't mean I need to use 5 clips of that particular topic. So it helped me be a little bit more judicious with my selection of clips for the video. Again, love the straight down shots. It's such a neat shot that you just can't get any other way, and I find it very striking. And I also wanted to do a moving shot here to highlight how big these patches were. And again, with the straight down shots, I was really happy that I got up and got this, because the colors I thought were really awesome looking. Like, I love the almost sea green down here, and then the browner from the mixed up silt in the bottom of the shore here. And then the most cool thing is the waves are hitting and then splashing off the cliffs and then bouncing off. You can see the concentric circles of the waves reflecting off the coast, which I did not think about. And it's really cool to see that from up high, and I did not notice it when I was down at eye level. This also clip highlights the fact that I'm getting a little bit better about understanding that clips don't necessarily need to be super long. This clip was a little bit longer, and I cut down the length to keep it more reasonable, because everybody's got, patience and so much tolerance of how long a shot can be. And maybe this one still ended up being a little bit too long, but I'm learning. I'm getting better. I just thought it was neat looking, so I wanted to include it. Wanted to show the audience on how large those patches were. They extended for quite a distance, and I really liked how the shot looked. The colors, the gentle waves rolling in here, the cloud cover way in the distance. It was neat. I really liked it. I didn't expect this type of scenes to be out there on the lake, but haven't really spent a lot of time near Lake Michigan, so I look forward to flying more out there too, in other locations by the lake in summertime. And then the video comes to a close. So there's one other thing I wanted to talk about. I didn't expect the waves to be so small, since the only time I've ever been out there was in November, and then the waves were these massive crashing beasts. So when I got out there and they had these little tiny waves, it didn't really impact the quality of the shots or anything, but it made everything sound different. Like, it didn't have the huge booming crashes. So I needed to record more audio so that way I could overlay them on the video and then tweak them and give the impression of the drone hearing the sounds when it really can't. But I ran into a problem. It was such a nice day, and it was so pretty out that the park was full, and there's lots of random conversations happening. So I kept catching little distant words and talking sounds. Like, you couldn't understand what anyone's saying, but it was still enough to interrupt the illusion of capturing the waves. And then like 2 minutes into my little sound recording video, a pickup truck started off in the distance, and it was like a beast pickup truck. It sounded like Armageddon was starting when this thing turned on, and it just rumbled for like 30-40 seconds. And so I ended up with a lot smaller amount of clips to use for the waves, but with like overlaying multiple samples of the waves and varying their volumes, it's difficult to tell that there are any repeating sounds. So it still turned out nice, but it was just a little hurdle that I didn't anticipate. So, well, that's my after the fact video for Cave Point but Frozen, and I appreciate you spending time watching my videos. It's always a lot of fun for me to dive into these and make new videos, and if you enjoy them, please like and subscribe. But first and foremost, if you have any questions or comments, by all means leave those. They tickles me pink when people interact and have questions. Some of my favorite videos were responding to questions about how I did something, which then gave me a good opportunity to launch into doing a tutorial video with Adobe Premiere. So don't be shy. If you have a comment, please post. And as always, I appreciate you stopping by, and thank you for your time. I'm also dedicated to not having jump cuts. I don't know why I'm so opposed to them. I'm sure I will buckle eventually. I keep saying it, but if I misspeak, that's totally why, because it's all off the cuff. So thanks. Have a good day. Bye.